Hello and welcome to a brand new Parry's Pickups. As you can see, I'm back in Denmark now and it's 12 p.m. First of all, we're going to look at a couple of Xbox One games I picked up recently. We're going to start with a more interesting one, shall we? And that would be Doom. When I was back in the UK, I saw Doom on offer for £25 and I thought, what the heck? I've been wanting to play this game. So I picked it up. It was in the big pack, with the sew-on patches or iron-on patches. Can't remember. Not that it's important. The book about the monsters, all the extra bits and pieces. I forget what it was called. It had some kind of fancy name. Anyway, this is Doom on the Xbox One. It's been very well received by critics. If you listen to the podcast that I co-host, Tom Matt Attack, I'm trying to remember what it was called then. You'll have heard Matt talk about this game, and also I've seen Matt play it, and we had a little conversation about it, and it looks really good. So I look forward to playing it. I haven't actually played it yet, but I will do. Next up on the agenda would be FIFA 15. Now, what am I doing buying more sports games? Matt Boyle will cry out, but I don't have a football game on the Xbox, my old excuse. So I found this very cheap in a Danish supermarket once I got back here in Denmark. And I thought, what the heck? I'll get it. Costs next to nothing. FIFA 15. There we go. Next up. A Wii game. Ooh, a Wii game, eh? This is Spyborgs. Now, I forget where I heard this recommended, maybe a YouTube video was recommending this game, Spyborgs. So Spyborgs is a brawler, pretty much, made to be played in two-player. I've actually only played the single player very briefly. So yes, it's a brawler, a modern equivalent of the side-scrolling beat-em-up, with super-powered robot-y people. God, I'm not selling this very well, am I? It's kind of chunky, cartoony graphics, really nice. Of course, on a modern television, it's a Wii game, so it still looks a little rough around the edges, even on a Wii U when it's plugged through a HDMI. Anyway, of course, the resolution isn't that high, but it doesn't matter. It's the gameplay that matters. And this so far was pretty straightforward. It didn't blow me away, I have to admit. But then again, I haven't played a lot of the game. It has a unique feature where to uncover power-ups, you hold down a button and point to an item, which is, so you can tell it's sort of cloaked. It's invisible, but you can see it's there, so you kind of point at it and then you can pick up the collectible. That is, That's one implementation, of the Wii remote. Another would be if you build up enough energy, you can do a super move, and that will ask you to move the nunchuck and remote together. The game only uses the nunchuck and remote. You can't play this with a regular controller, probably because of these, things where you have to move them. The motion control is kept to a minimum in this game. Most of the control is done with the nunchuck and Wii remote. Interesting setup on the controls. I think the punch button might have been the B button on the back of the Wii remote, which felt a little bit odd. I can't really say this is a great game yet because I haven't played enough of it. It's so far an okay game. I can see some potential there, but I don't see it quite blowing me away. But that's Spyborgs. It's very readily available online, at least. I remember I was looking for this when I was back in the UK and I couldn't find a copy anywhere. So, moving along swiftly. Again, back in the UK, I picked up the original Disney Infinity along with the Portal. It was £5. The reason I did this was because I have Disney Infinity 3.0 for the Xbox One and the Portal. The Portal does not work on PS4. I have Disney Infinity 2.0 for PS4, and I can't play it because I didn't have a Portal. This was £5 for the Portal and the game, and of course the PS3 Portal is compatible on the PS4. Woohoo! Great! So all in all, for both Infinity 1 and 2 and Portal, it cost me the grand total of about 10 quid, which is pretty good. That's not counting figures at all. I didn't get any figures with these two games, but yeah, happy to have it. I haven't played this one yet. I really like 2.0, I really like 3.0, but this one I know very little about, and having the other games keep me busy, I've not felt the real need to... I'm curious about this, but I've not felt the need to actually get stuck into this one yet. A game that I've been looking for a while. Again, when I was back in the UK, I was looking everywhere with it. It wasn't until I landed here in Denmark that I popped into GameStop and found a copy of it. That game is 3D Dot Game Heroes. And this is pretty good. This is basically Zelda. I can't describe it in any other way. If you play the Zelda game, you know exactly what you're getting here. You're the hero. Well, there was a hero long ago. Now, many years later, the villain's been defeated, but he's come back. Oh no! So it's time for a new hero to take up the Master Sword and slay the evil villain. That involves going to temples around an open world, pretty much, and yeah, defeating the boss at the temple. First of all, I think it's called the Grass Temple, actually. Beat that boss, get a magic orb, collect all of them. You can defeat the bad guy. Also, you're freeing some sort of wise men who are also being captured by the villain. So it plays exactly like Zelda, with a few slight twists. You've got a blinking massive sword. It feels overpowered at first, but then the game doesn't let you use that sword unless you've got full health, or you pick up a power up enabling you to use it. So that's cool. First of all, sword and shield and yeah, your typical stuff really. But what sets this game apart from Zelda is the way it looks. It's got a sense of humour first of all, and establishes at the beginning that gamers have become fed up with 2D games, and now it is time for the kingdom to turn itself into 3D to appeal to the newer generation of video gamers. So basically everything kind of becomes three-dimensional, but in a way that the pixels kind of form 3D shapes, as you can see on the front cover. So it gives it a very unique style. Also, it's just this fantastic thing when you're on the field area of the game, the map. Well, field area, should I say, where you can save. You know, if you play an RPG or Zelda, you know what I'm talking about. But everything in the distance is blurry, and everything in the foreground is in focus. And this effect is really well to give a sense of scale to the game, because if it wasn't there, I don't think the game would be quite as visually pleasing. It also controls very well as well. So yeah, the gameplay itself isn't particularly unique, I say, aside from the idea of the sword. But the humour's great. That's not over the top or anything like that, but it's enough to say that this game knows its heritage and it's not trying to sell itself as a brand new concept or anything. But if you really like Zelda games and you want to try something that looks completely different from any other game you've probably ever played, then 3D Dot Game Heroes is well worth picking up. I can recommend that. They're slightly pricier now. I bought for 200 Danish kroner, which is about £20, so that's quite a lot. I'm sure you can probably, with a bit of hunting around, get this a bit cheaper, but I looked at a quick look on eBay, and the game's going for around about 20 or more pounds, so yeah, I went for it. Another game I've been playing recently has been Fuel. Fuel is really good. It's an open world racer. Well, it sells itself as sort of being like an open world racer, but basically you travel around the open world to different camps, and when you get to that camp you get several challenges to do. So it's not in the same sense open world as Paradise, for instance, where you can drive up to a traffic light and just take part in a race, and then the races themselves don't take place on the open world, they take place in a smaller course where you can't go beyond, I don't think, at least. It really does make you feel like you're playing off-road. It's not clean or crisp. It feels dirty and rugged, and yeah, it's got a little bit of attitude and reasonably good visuals that really do bring home that feel of being off-road racing. It's a very impressive game, and it's probably one of those games that if you saw it on a shop floor, you'd think, oh, that looks pretty generic. I don't know if I should really bother with that. But it delivers a great racing experience. It's published by Codemasters, developed by Azubo Studios. Excuse me if I've mispronounced it. They've done a fine job here. It's really cool, and you can go into the open world mode, and well, you use that basically to find the camps to do the races. You can also find unlockables littered around the world, so there is an emphasis on exploring it as well. So, yeah, I'd certainly recommend this game. Next up, a first-person shooter. That's Syndicate for the PS3. This game's also available on Xbox 360, a lot like Fuel. This is pretty good, actually. Again, this game looks fairly generic. You may see it cheap around and about when shopping for video games, and that's no indication of its quality. Its cheapness it isn't a cheap game. It's a very well-made game that's had a lot of money pumped into it by EA, and it's developed by Starbreeze Studios. Starbreeze have made the Chronicles of Riddick game, Escape from Butcher Bay, and its sequel. I think they also did The Darkness, which is a really great story-driven FPS. The unique selling point of this game is you're set in the future. You're this cyber assassin type character. In the future, people have these chips in their brains with information in. You are sent in to extract these chips from people's brains for sort of a secret organisation. There's a storyline on, so you're not really sure. I'm not really sure of all the details here of if the organisation is perhaps good or bad or corrupted or what. But it kind of feels like you're freedom fighters, but at the same time, it also feels a bit underhand. The guy you're working with, well, I wouldn't say freedom fighters at all. It's more of a business because the guy you're working with is just killing innocents left, right, and centre. So something's wrong, and you're really just a tool in this whole situation. I expect you'll find out the truth later on. So you can see there's something going on there in terms of story. Visually, it's very nice, and it reminds me a lot of Perfect Dark, actually. Not only in the way it looks, but also the way it controls. It's a very smooth FPS. You feel fast and light. And the other unique thing about this game is these memory chips. You can trigger the chips in other characters' brains. So if you see some soldiers over there, rather than shoot them, you can point at them and trigger the chip in their brain so that they kill themselves. Of course, this is a limited ability. You can only use it so many times before you have to let it charge up again. You can also make their guns fire back at them. Well, when I say fire back, I mean, I don't know what it's like, a blowback effect. So if you target a bunch of guards and then you make their gun blow back on them, all three of them or whatever will get sent back. So that's a great. They don't die, but it gives you the opportunity to just take them out quickly and easily. Also, you have a sort of, if you're told on R2, I think you have sort of like a heat-seeking vision, where for that time where it's available, before it runs down because it doesn't last very long, you're able to do more damage and take less damage yourself. So there's some really good little mechanisms going on in this game that make it unique, and I think it's great, really, especially since you can pick it up for next to nothing. And lastly, another PS3 game that I picked up here in Denmark, Spec Ops: The Line. I won't say too much about this game. I think it can be summed up very easily. It's Gears of War crossed with Call of Duty. The gameplay itself plays like Gears. It's squad-based, cover system. So they've got the Gears stuff covered, but the whole setup of it, and the yeah, the environment's real world. The game begins in Dubai, and the environment is also a big aspect, a big part of the gameplay. Uh, there'll be sandstorms and such, and for example, and at the beginning of the game, there's a bus or a coach that's full of sand, and you can shoot at it, and the sand will pour out to defeat the enemies. So you use the environment quite a lot in this game. It plays a big role. But yeah, the whole it looks like it's real world war. So that's where the Call of Duty side of things comes in, and it's fun. The banter between your squad members makes them feel very human. There is a story going on here, which is pretty good actually. I've played it for an hour or two, so not got so far into the story yet, but I can really see potential for the story to develop in interesting ways in this game too. And again, I don't think it's a very expensive game. I can't remember exactly what I paid for it, but it was cheap. So another recommendation. And that's it for this week, or this episode. Don't always do these weekly. These aren't really a weekly series. It is, again, whenever I pick up enough games to make it worthwhile to make a video on them. So keep checking back, or subscribe to the channel. That's the best way to keep up to date with what we're producing here on blastprocess.com. We hope you like the content. Please comment and let us know what you think. If you played any of these games and you want to chat about them in the comments below, just pop a little comment in for us, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And all that's left for me today. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again for another Parry's Pickups. Bye bye for now.